This next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey everybody, I'm Christine, and today we have as a co-host Steve.
Hi there.
Hi, welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit.
I've been a guest before several times, but this is my first time as a co-host. I'm moving up in the world.
You're moving on up. That's one of my favorite shows, by the way.
Yeah.
Growing up. So welcome back. I'm happy to have you as co-host today. This is very exciting.
Thanks. I'm building my fan base.
There you go. We've got a guest coming on today, but we don't know if she's going to make it yet or not. She's not arrived, so we will see. But we'll still do the topic as if we're just doing the topic. So we'll see what we can do. I've been sending her messages, so we'll see. So how's your week been? Tell me.
It's been very interesting.
Yeah.
Been trying to stay out of trouble. Actually, the weather's changed here in LA, so I'm enjoying going outside more.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It was getting really warm today. It's supposed to get super hot, but I was really hoping for the June gloom.
Not quite there yet. We got another couple weeks.
Yeah, we do. So, so glad that you're here. I know I just got an email that she says she is on her way. She's heading into the studio now. So,
wonderful. Tell me a little bit about her, and because we can introduce her then, or shall we wait till she arrives?
No, we're good. I'm going to bring up her info right now. So Koko is part of our networking for the dating professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been in that for a while. Koko Russo is she's the COO of a matchmaking company called A Matchmaking. Like A Matchmaking. I don't know. I'm a little confused about the.
Mm-hmm.
I know. So anyway, she went from COO in 2024, and now she's the CEO. So it's very exciting. She's a certified matchmaker with over 10 years of experience, and she's qualified through the IAP College and the Global Love Institute. I think what's her name runs the Global Love Institute. Oh, she was going to come on the show. I'll have to bring her on. Anyway, she's sparked countless love stories, and she studied screenwriting at Michigan State University. And she was with another company for a while, but she has also studied in youth ministry and psychology at Tennessee Temple University. So she's really well-versed in matchmaking, and we're actually going to talk about what are we talking about? Long distance relationships, can it work? And Koko is here. Let's
great.
Let's bring
her in.
Hi, Anastasia. Welcome back to the show. We love seeing you here. So Koko is going to come on in a second.
Fantastic. I think it's such
All right. Koko is having problems with her connection. Koko, we need a mic and a camera if possible, please. It looks like you're having a difficulty staying steady with your internet. So if you could please just double check that for us. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
That's okay. So Koko will come on when she can. So long distance relationships. Let's talk about that. I'm not sure they can work, and I think that some people really, really love them. I'm not a big fan. So what's your take on long distance relationships, Steve?
Well, I think there's probably some benefits because you are not around the person all the time. So you get to have some space. And then when you are together, it can be spicy.
Yeah.
So I know that that's one of the upsides. I think for people, especially who have issues around private, not issues, but a desire for privacy and a desire for, having their own life, own experience.
I get that. I mean, when I had my boyfriend for a couple of years that was down in Orange County, depending on traffic times, where we are
That's long
during the
distance.
day, like that is long distance actually. We would be an hour to 2 hours away, and we did not see each other during the week. We only saw each other weekends or every other weekend. And yeah, it was wonderful when we were together because it was, a really good time. We spent a lot of time together. And when we were like for the weekend, like the 2 or 3 days, but I'm hot as hell in this studio today. I don't know if it's the menopause kicking in today with the hot flash or if it's just fucking hot. But with him, it was great. But during the week, when it would be nice when I'm having a really tough day to be able to just pop over to see him or him pop over to see me and just get a hug or to cuddle or that human touch. I cannot go that long of a time without human touch. I start to break down. And it's probably why I'm a breakdown, I'm a mess today. I need some interaction.
Someone to crawl into their arms. Yeah, I mean, I guess
I do need that.
Yeah, for sure. When that's something that you really desire and want in a relationship, that could be, problematic if it's long distance. And then on the upside, when you are long distance, you have to plan your time together.
True, which is great. I do love that. But the thing for me is that I really do. There are times I don't want to talk. Yeah. I just want to be with somebody or hang out with somebody or just be held. And it's hard when that happens because then I'm missing this human contact that, that we were talking about. And it's really hard for me to go from not seeing somebody for a long period of time to keep that excitement going. I don't know. It's hard for me. I don't love it. Yeah. So do you have like an experience where you have worked? Oh, is Koko here?
I think she's here. She's here.
I've been here. I've been having problems with the camera.
Oh, it's okay. Well, welcome, Koko. So happy to have you.
I'm so embarrassed, but
girl, shit happens. By the time that we are no longer live,
there's a lot going on in the back. There's other people talking.
For us? No, just us.
Pretty quiet here.
Can you hear it? Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Great. Yeah.
It was another video playing. Okay. Sorry, everybody.
That's okay. What I was saying is that by the time this airs, it's just going to be audio only anyway, and nobody will give a shit what we look like.
Okay. Because I've dressed up. I put on makeup.
Oh, girl.
The camera went out. I made my kids get out with their father.
You're awesome. Well, we're glad that you're at least here. We really appreciate you. So we were just, as you probably could hear, we were just talking about, how I kind of feel about long distance relationships. And Steve was saying that it works, if you need to have that space and time. But tell us your thoughts on what long distance relationships are for you in the dating world as far as you being a matchmaker.
Okay, well, actually, I would love to share that. I wasn't going to share. I was going to go into tips and stuff, but I would start off with it. First of all, I am divorced. I am in a long distance relationship, and me and my the individual I'm talking to. See, he's not a United States long distance. We met in the United States, but he's not a United States citizen. He is he's going to be. He's coming over here.
Great.
Yeah, so he got his paperwork and stuff. I'm not trying to get too much of my personal life, but he is in Pakistan, and he's also my co-founder.
Oh my gosh, he's coming on next week.
Yes.
I love
But
that.
he has been in America. He's very fluent in English and stuff. So, but I want to talk about long distance. And what we did was we were practicing. What we do is
Can I just ask really quick, because the audience doesn't know much about you yet. When you say co-founder, tell us just a little bit about your company, your business, and we haven't met either. I know you've talked to Christine. I'm a guest co-host today, so I would love to hear just a little bit about you before you launch into your advice.
Yes. First of all, my name is Keyoka Russo. I go by Koko Russo. I am the new CEO of ISA Matchmaking LLC. It was founded by me and my ex CEO who gave me the company, Christelle Patra. She is a relationship coach and also a dating coach and self-help coach. She has a book out called Beyond All Limits, and she's great. She passed the company on to me in 2024, going into 2025.
Awesome.
And yeah, she's a great person. And so I became the new CEO of it. I graduated from the Matchmaking Institute. And I have been doing matchmakers since 2012. I was just Christian matchmaking. So that was what I was doing. I was working in the church. I used to own a business called Genesis 218 Matchmaking. And then after that, after my divorce and everything, I just went through changing it up. Also with my at time business partner, and now I expand. I don't just reach out to Christians. I do everyone, most likely. I'm high-end professional, ages 24 to 55 years old. So successful single men who are looking for marriage and single men that are looking for companionship. Our target audience are men, but we also accept women. Like right now, we're about to launch our free database for women to come in. We're relaunching July 31st. We open up. So I rebrand the whole business and all. So we're very excited. I have my team, Sherelle Johnson. She's been with me for since Genesis, and then going into It's a Match. She was with me for a while. So that's almost like 4 years. But she was like just playing by ear because it was Christian. And It's a Match was like actually a real stable structure business. And then she does the profile writing, background checks. She has a degree in criminal justice, and she's beautiful. She's also she's a godmother of my children. So she's like a sister to me.
She's coming on actually, I think in June.
Yes, and her dad calls me his little sister. He's like in his 60s. I'm like, I'm the same age as your daughter. I'm in my 30s. Like, that's my sister. I'm like, come on, George. Then my sister's the relationship coach. She went to IAP College. Her name is Kamiko Bryant. And then we have Jade Glass, who's our client coordinator and also going to be soon as an event planner for the company. She has finishing up her school with event planning, and she's also she beat cancer. So we are a team of 4 women, 1 guy, which is a business developer and also assistant matchmaker. He has been doing matchmaking for like some time, as at cultural, because he's Pakistani, he's Punjabi, and his is Bila Mazar. And then we all have been together for a long time as a team. So we're mostly doing Christian religious matchmaking, but now it was like, hey, let's go into It's a Match. Keyoka rebrand it. Let's make this an establishment and let's do it differently.
So tell us about what your experience has been like, because your current relationship is long distance, and then what are your thoughts on long distance relationships?
I think they're beautiful. I like how I've been researching it. I had to think about this whole thing before I went into this relationship. So after me and my ex-husband, Jay Russo, I met him at church. And we were married. We got married engaged around like 2011, going into 2012. We got married, and then around 2003, 2023, we filed for divorce. Me and Billa, which is most likely still being friends, still talking. And it was like, hey, once everything went down, it was like, hey, let's go ahead and become a relationship, but we have to do it long distance. And we had to look into. I said, this is kind of scary because you're not in the United States anymore. He's like, no, and we studied it, and we've been doing fine. We do virtual dates. That's my favorite thing. I know it's kind of funny, but we do like cooking dates. I love cooking. and we do Valentine's was our first real virtual date.
Mm.
And it was funny because I was like, okay, I never did a virtual date. Like, y'all should see me. I dressed up. And virtual dates is good because you still got to date. You still got to get to know each other. And you can still do it virtual. Now, you can't, like, be sexual intimate, but you can be intimate as, like, sending, what would we do? We send flowers or, you know, it's still there. And you still get that vibe, but you see how it's going to go. And it's very hard to do what it is. A lot of emotion in it. You like, when you're going to get over here. And it's not like the show 90 Day Fiance. It's nothing like that. I promise you, it's nothing like that. It's not like how you see on the shows. You know, every relationship is different. But ours, and what I've seen in research, and also if you see TikToks and reels where people, when they meet each other, they do that video when they're like clapping hands and stuff. That is very good to do. To record and document your long distance relationship. And that's what we're doing with ours. We're recording it, how long it takes him to get here, how long it takes us to build, and that's what we're doing. It's really cool because I go back and look at the videos, and so it's very cool because I'm going to post it when he gets here so everyone can see it. It's like how it grew, and you can see how a relationship grows doing long distance, and it can be strengthened, but it's things you have to watch out for. If you don't know the person, you're doing long distance relationship. Now, this is for people that do online dating. That right there is very scary because you don't know who you're talking to. You might say video call and stuff like that, but it's a whole different than what type of relationship I'm in. So like a long distance ones, the ones that meet people online, they usually ask for money, stuff like that. Or it's like red flags to watch out for. What me and him, we did like a deep dive. Like we made sure I was divorced. We made sure he wasn't married. We made sure there was no kids involved. We went through the whole thing before we said, okay, let's go ahead, let's talk. Because people get hurt in long distance relationships. It could be a good thing, or it could be a bad thing. Because you never know, that person could fly over there to your country. You'd be like, surprise. Like, what are you doing in Japan? Or what are you doing in England? And then they're there with Susie Q or something on their side. Susie Q, like, who are you?
I have some questions for you, some that pertain more to like emotional and physical challenges.
Yes.
So when you are talking about a long distance relationship, what do you think that is the unexpected challenges that people don't usually talk about?
Friends. What your friends would say about you. What you would think. I'm the type of person, because it was my first time doing a long distance. Even though we met in America, we knew each other and we met again, I still wanted to make sure I knew what I was going to, what I prepared. I wasn't looking for the failures, but I looked for stuff that could happen. Like I read people different stories. I ended up going through it. Like a friend was like, oh, he's never going to come over here, or it's not going to happen. He probably has a girl over there. And that's stuff that you have to block out because people are always going to say those things. And that's when like you get questions. Then that's when that mind, and you get emotional. You go through the emotional roller coaster. And I have to see people like on little videos. Somehow I get emotional when you're coming. I never thought I was going to go through that, but I did. I was like, and I have nothing against, and I'm not talking about politics. I would not, I'm just saying about how things are going with people coming to America at the same time of people leaving out of America. You know, you're trying to come over here to be with someone at a time. Our president is saying everyone has to go, even though you have a clean background and you have the degree and everything to come over here. It's like a challenge. So how long as a person in 2025, man or female, are going to fight to be in a relationship with someone when you have your state going against you, your country?
Right.
No one looks at that. And back then people wasn't looking at that, but now that's something I have to look at. And no one looks, that's an emotional thing as well. But back then it wasn't. You know, it wasn't as hard as this now, but it's like things get changed up and we're like, what can we do? So what we did was to understand that we were going to be established together was we start building things that we like. We had interest. So he started helping me rebrand my business in a way when we wasn't switching money off to each other, but we were paying stuff on each other's side to get the business going, to show each other, hey, we're building. That's what also keep you connected, because you got to build on something in a long distance relationship. What is the goal? What are you trying to meet at? What are you trying to accomplish other than being together? You know,
do you think that jealousy and insecurity show up more often?
Yes.
In this type of situation than, you know, if you're together every day?
I think it can be when you like with somebody, like this is something we had a conversation about. We had to really take a deep breath and pull away from each other. And it was when it sounds crazy because I'm in my 30s. So you might say, you sound like a teenage girl. I'm going to go ahead and say it's embarrassing. I'm going to throw it out there. Why you didn't call me last week? What was you doing? Because that's the first thing, because you're like, I was at mosque. It's Friday's prayer. It's like, what was what? Like, I was going to my cousin's wedding. Did you marry your cousin? He was like, no, I don't marry my cousin. What are you reading? I'm like, YouTube. And so it was like that stuff. It gets jealousy because you also look at culture. You know, you got Western culture, then you got South Asian culture, and then you see the stereotypes of what they say. You got the South, they got like videos and stuff, stories of they marry their cousin or they have an extra wife. And that's type of stuff. Like I said, always be prepared what you're going into when it's a long distance relationship, when it's overseas. And this is for people that just meet people over line, not just people that actually know people. Also with that can be stuff that happen, but that is a lot of jealousy and emotional, stuff that goes through your head. And you have to keep saying, Keyoka, you know me. Why are you asking me this? So it's a lot that I went through at one point, but we grew, but we took breaks and we learned how to talk to each other, what not to say to each other, how to do things. That's when we was like, hey, he was like, I got an idea. I was like, what? He's like, you want to do a date? I said, yes. So our first date was, like I said, a lot of times we did short films. We watched like short films on YouTube. That was our thing. Then we found a short film network that showed short little movies. And they help us get like different conversations. Then we start off with looking at with games. Then we had to go with time schedule. That's another thing. I'm in America and I'm in Central Florida. I'm in America. I'm in Northwest Florida, Lower Alabama. So, Central Times. And then he's in Pakistan. And it's like crazy. So it's like when he's at nighttime, I'm at daytime. He's at day. So we have to pick. So he goes on my time frame. Like if I'm Central Standard Time and it's 10 o'clock, he'll come and we'll talk around that time. But we have times when we talk and we have times when we don't. And the biggest time what really like divided us for a couple of months was with the India versus Pakistan war that was going on. That was like a emotional roller coaster for me.
Oh,
but
sure.
Even though I was shocked, he was still getting the business work done on his end for me. Like I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I made sure all this was shipped to you. I'm like, what? I was like, how is it a war going on? He's like, oh, yeah, it's a war going on, but see, I still got this going on in the back. So it's a lot. And I know it sounds crazy. People like, why would you go this distance? Why would you trust anybody? That's for anyone long distance relationship, but it's worth it when you have been together before and you know the person. Now, I can't really speak on someone that met someone like over line and don't know the person, but I know that's still a challenge as well. And then if you see the show, like I'm not trying to bring up shows or anything, I get myself like in trouble, but like 90 Day Fiance, Cross Border, stuff like that. It is really different than you not knowing someone already.
Yeah, I get that. So do you think that being long distance for, say, the average person, whether it's like that they are hours away or a huge flight away, do you think that long distance can make the connection stronger or just harder?
Or stronger? It could be both. It depends on who's the person. Because I had to look at it as I have a friend, I'm not going to say her name, but she's military. And her husband's military. And I sent him, I don't know if you know this about Fort Walton Beach, Florida, but we're a military town. If you have been down, you got Destin, Pensacola, then you got Fort Walton Beach behind Destin, which is the military town. That's for Eglin Air Force Base. So it's a lot of military wives out here. And just hearing some of them say, hey, my husband, he's gone, or my wife, she's gone, she's coming back, or if they're both in the military, it is, kind of difficult listening to that and seeing that, you got to stay focused and trust that person that you love. And it is hard.
Yeah, I think that having a communication plan is really important when it comes to a long distance relationship, whether you are thrilled about having it or not. I think that there's a lot of steps that go into it. I think one of them is a communication plan. And I think, what you were just saying a minute ago about watching short videos together. I like sharing Spotify songs together.
We used to do
like
that.
what I'm feeling in the moment, the song is reflecting how I'm thinking or feeling about the person in the moment. So I like that.
Well, I wrote a song for him actually. I wrote a song for him and he was shocked. He said, you wrote a song for me? I said, yeah. He was like, seriously? It was it was doing around his birthday, which is in November. I wrote a song for him, and he was like, "So you want to play for him?" So I played for him. He says, "Is this you singing?" I was like, "No, it's somebody else." But I wrote a song. I had someone to sing it and everything. And he's like, "Wow, this is good." He's like, "It's talking about me," and it was like, "It's talking about how I felt, and then he ended up writing this little story that was so it was cute. It was a little cheesy story.
I love that. Well, I think prioritizing emotional transparency is important. Like when you write something for somebody and you're sharing those kind of things, it's like you personally, I think sharing your fears and doubts and insecurities before they start to build any kind of resentment, because there can be miscommunication when you're, in a long distance relationship.
It can. It was miscommunication on some things I'm allowed to share. So it was kind of miscommunication on what was the miscommunication that we had that was really with the kids. My kids, we have when he knows my kids. He always knew my kids before I ever gave birth to them when I was pregnant. So he knew of my kids. He was just being a friend around at the time. And my kids had gave a miscommunication because it was over us going to church. And that's what started the whole thing. He was like, "Hey, he's Muslim. My mom's father was Muslim. So I'm used to that, but I'm not Muslim and I don't have to become Muslim if I marry him. Muslims are allowed to marry, Christians." Mm-hmm. So that's when the interfaith relationship comes in as well. So our relationship is a long distance mixed with interfaith relationship. So it's a lot, but it's a lot. My daughter had miscommunicated something and it almost started something that wasn't meant to be started. But we're like a normal couple. Now, someone wrote in the little chat thing that popped up, I couldn't do long distance or something like that because cuddle. I want to cuddle. So my cuddle time.
That's me.
Yeah.
Anastasia says, I think it's hard not having the cuddles at time together on a regular. Yeah, I personally feel that same thing, Anastasia. I completely agree with you. For me, I need that.
You're a touchy person.
Yeah, I need physical touch. I need that in my life, and it's really difficult without it.
With us, we're a little different. I guess everyone's different. No, I'm not judging anyone. Me, because I came from a Christian family. I did break up. I got back into the church. I'm not like I used to be. I go to the club every now and then, take a little, tequila shots. But I'm just saying, I'm not vomiting to be physically intimately, have intercourse or anything. And he's really rooted in Islam as well when it comes to that. So our thing with physical touch doesn't get to us now seeing each other. That is something like video calls. We have to see each other. That bothers me if I cannot see you. And I can't see your surroundings. And I want to see what's going on. So that was an issue with me at that point. And then my kids love him. We do stuff with the kids. Like we do cooking days. We do a lot of stuff, but we do a lot of virtual stuff, which is fun. Like we have fun. And so even the kids he's gone, his Zoom camera's going off. You're like, bye, like no. But we have so much fun. But we make it fun at the same time as being how I feel about him. I do get sad. I do wish he was actually here. But I know it's a process and it has to take time, and things are changing. It's not going to be as fast as it used to be.
Right. So. Now, I do think personally that a form of spicy virtual intimacy is really important in a long distance.
It is.
That emotional, playful, thoughtful kind of intimacy that you need to replace for the physical, because the physical isn't there.
I know, but I just don't want to talk about that.
No, I'm talking about for other people. So what are your thoughts?
I think it's healthy to do. I think it's healthy to do. I think it's better than going to OnlyFans. I think it's you have your own little own. I mean, I'm not trying to sound silly minded. I'm just being honest, between that person, make sure it's private and make sure the individual is not setting them up. I think Arlene or someone had on her on LinkedIn thing that it's this new thing a lot of people doing online when they have the individual send them exploitation pictures of themselves or anything, and they can use that if they don't give them money or something. Like, hey, I would throw this all over the internet that you showed me this and that. So that's something to be aware of as well. Not to really do unless you have like something private. So that's something I just want to throw out there. Make sure you actually have a good connection with the person before you do that, anything like that. But it is right to have something spicy.
Well, one of the things that's important to know for people who are doing long distance and they do want to add that spiciness to their relationship, WhatsApp is really the only place you should be doing that at, because WhatsApp is the only app that not even the people at WhatsApp can see it.
True. And it can disappear.
Yeah, it's the only one that that's 100% safe.
Yeah.
So that's something.
It's like a timer. Like you could send a picture, and the timer would go, and it would disappear, like how Michael Jackson does that little turn, and he turns to sand in one of his videos. It disappears like that. You're like, oh, I just seen it. It's fading away, and it doesn't get saved. So,
right. So I think also building your own lives. Distance works best when people, have a full life, that they're independent of each other, because I think that it prevents from like over attachment and what are your thoughts, like Steve or Koko, on, making sure that your lives are full outside of your relationship together?
I like that idea. I like that. And I think I said this earlier on before Koko joined us, that some people want to have some of their own life. They don't want everything to be intermingled, and kind of being in a long distance relationship really can be suitable for some people. And they could enjoy having time apart, and then when they do come together, they have to plan out, make sure that the quality time that they're spending together is in fact quality time.
And that's another thing, because I'll be honest, I'm the type of person that like that, because after you go through a divorce and you have that ex-husband or ex-wife, not all ex-husbands and ex-wives are like this, but they have that one family member that be lurking around on your page, or that one trying to see what's going on in your life. And me being in a long distance relationship, it kind of blocks that. My personal business is my personal business, and I don't have to worry about someone coming around trying to. It has some people, if you probably don't know what I'm talking about, it has ex-spouses that have family members that are like that. They try to dig up something just to show their brother or their sister or something. And I have went through something similar like that. So I'm just saying.
Okay. I also think, go ahead, Steve.
I'm really curious about, years and years ago, people used to talk about a mail order bride or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that still happening? And is it legit?
Yeah. We had a conversation about it, me and him, and it happens. And certain countries, said Thailand, it happens. We were just talking about, we had went up on a YouTube video, and I said, do this happen? And I asked him also about arranged marriage. He's like, well, like with me, I have freedom. Like I told you when I first met you, when we were like just friends, I was like, I have freedom to marry whoever I want. It depends on the family. Some you got that strict traditional family. Then you got that modern day, want to be a little bit like a Western culture family that give their son and daughter the right to choose. So it's also with mail order bride. You got like I have a friend that's from Thailand. I was talking to her about it. She was like, yeah, I have met girls that parents like, hey, we have a way for you to get to England or Australia or somewhere through someone that they know that they paid to bring their virgin daughter over there. So I never met a real person that hold a company like that. It does work.
So Mickey's saying that long distance relationships can work, but it can be hard when it changes from long distance to living together. And Steve was actually saying the same thing earlier. Yeah.
I had an experience like that back in my 30s. I met someone in London. We had a long distance relationship for a couple of years, and it was great long distance. Because I would call her when she was waking up in the morning, and I was getting ready to go to sleep at night. So we managed to, and then this was the days before there was, easy long distance cost a lot of money back then. So we talk a couple times a week, and it was great when we had our separate time. And then she moved here, and it turns out our relationship was better long distance than it was in person. And it wasn't the fault of either of us, not being compatible. I just know that when I met her, I was producing events in London and I was traveling around the world, and she got to see me in that role. And then when she saw me back home where I was struggling to get my business going, I wasn't the same person. She saw me in a leadership role over here, and then come back and see that I'm, struggling with marketing and getting all my business going and all of that. And she wanted the guy who was in charge. So it really, when you see when you see someone and live with someone, you see all their
Flaws.
weaknesses, their flaws, or their growth edge. That was really, I think we were both young, and she didn't know how to support me in my entrepreneurial ventures, no better than I knew how to support her in what she was up to in her life. So bringing us together, living together, was, a whole new challenge.
Yeah, but we have lived together way before we were ever a couple. So, but I mean, I can't say what could happen now because I have kids. He was, like I said, he was a friend in America when I was, married and stuff like that. And he was just around. So, my kids are older now, and I'm divorced from their father. So him coming around the kids, actually, in times now that they're walking and talking and they're doing things other than when they were babies and stuff, would probably be one of our challenges as living together, most likely. And we have already agreed on to take that extra slow. When he comes here, he's going to have his own place. I'm not going to move in with my kids. We're going to slowly bring that into a push and see where it goes. So we have everything planned out for us.
That's good. That's one of the things I wanted to say was, I think creating milestones or end goals and preparing for the transition of being together is really important. Like
just
setting intentions. Yes. Will you be closing that distance eventually? How, when, talking about the future is really, really important, but then talking about how you're going to actually implement that and how you're going to adjust to spending your everyday life together, I think is very valuable and a really good step to think about when you're considering that kind of relationship.
Yeah, especially when you have kids. Like with my kids, they know him as just Mr. Mansour or Mr. Muhammad or Mr. Billy. They go back and forth with it, but they know him as that. And that's all that. But my daughter, she's like, I think it's more than that. She wants to be 13. So she's only 8, but she's always trying to read people's minds. She's, I don't know, y'all look at each other, but we keep it as we're friends, and he's a friend, he's a business partner until he gets into the country, and then after that, we're gonna slowly take it. We're not gonna take it too slow, but not too fast to shock my children, because my children are used to seeing. Even we have co-parenting days and stuff, so they're used to seeing me and their dad do things and stuff like that. And then when we talk about religion, we already understand that my kids will be Christian and do Christian things with their dad. And his religion, we're not even, if we have kids among each other, that's a whole different story. But for this, it's just all respect. So it's good to have everything planned out. And we took a lot of time planning everything out, how it's going to go. We don't know it's going to go perfect like this, but we are planning for the best to suit everyone's,
That's great. That's great. I had a disastrous one. Steve, when we used to all be on Clubhouse, a couple of years ago, Clubhouse, there was somebody from Clubhouse that reached out to me and asked me to help him produce and direct a show that he was interested in developing. And so we first started talking because of that, and then it slowly became something else. And I think that he actually had the agenda from the beginning, and I was just thinking it was just all business. Looking back on it, I can see the manipulation that was very easily done. I think that we created a false sense of security, and I think we created a false sense of really knowing each other just because of all the talking that we did. I found that some things were going really wonky after a couple of months of talking to him every fucking day. And it getting to be like, ooh, something's really off here. And then all of a sudden he started talking about selling his house in Oklahoma, moving out here, moving in with me. And I was like, whoa, I have a high school daughter in midst of my house. So that's not going to fly. So I actually, on my own dime, which was really dumb, flew there and met him. And it was horrific. So people are different unless, like you said, Coco, unless you know them prior, or Steve, you meeting this woman, in person. When you're starting something from online or virtually, and it is all talk, that can add it's like dating on a normal basis in your hometown. If you're constantly chatting and calling and not meeting, it creates a false sense of knowing each other that isn't based in reality, I think.
Or texting. If they're texting more and not calling you, you got to find out what is the reason. Whoever listen, don't be scared or shy to ask or make it feel like you're being like a bugaboo or whatever. Ask, be direct, like, hey, why do I text you more? Why do you text me more than let me see you? Because that right, that's a big red flag. They're texting more than seeing you. What's the issue? I mean, I'm just saying, if it was for what, that's even even if someone at the same country as you doing it, it's still a problem. Like, why are you texting me so much more? But when it comes to children, as a mom, as you get what I'm saying, it's not that I don't trust him or anything. It's just my kids are used to a certain thing. And even if I met him online, I never met him in person, I still wouldn't let him in my house. I have 2 little girls. They're 7 and 8. Like I said, my 8-year-old wants to be 13. And I have an oldest, he's 11. She wants to be 30. My oldest, he's 11. He's nonverbal autistic. So
that's a lot.
Yeah. So, and we talked about that because he's seeing the way my kid was acting. He's like, so last time I checked, Delvitria was a baby. That's him. Oops, I didn't even say his name. Sorry.
That's okay.
And he's like, he was saying hi to him, and he was just standing there looking at him. I was like, he's nonverbal. It's like, oh wow. And he was just bouncing. Some autistics, they just bounce off the wall. They don't stop moving around. He said, wow, he has a lot of energy. He's just like bing, 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 bing. I said, yeah, he's like a ping ball. He's a lot, but I understand. Like, I explained it to him. I said, if you want to be with me, like truly want to be with me, you have to accept me and my children. Right. Not just my 2 daughters and not my special need. Because I know special needs are a big thing when a man comes into a woman's life who has a special need, especially if you're doing long distance, you're not prepared. So I told him to get prepared. This is a special need child.
Yeah, that's something to really consider when you have kids. Like, when I was dating, when my kids were younger, I think some men expected to meet my kids right away, and I was like, that's not something that can happen.
Exactly.
Because you have to, consider if something goes south in a relationship, your kids have feelings too, and they get involved too. So that's a tough one.
That's something that I wasn't thinking of. That's why I'm glad I said it. This Mr. I never said he's mommy's boyfriend or anything. I just say that because my children can't wait. Like, it was like, it's Thursday. What is he? Oh no, it's Saturday. Saturday's when we do cookies and stuff. And I'm like, he's not coming today. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I didn't say he was in a war or anything. So he's not coming today. He's just, it bothered my child. Like, is y'all still friends? And but their dad knows him. So their dad was like, I know who he is and stuff like that. I didn't know I was kind of shocked to my ex-husband, but he was like, it makes me wonder, what was you thinking back then when you seen him?
Yeah, I guess that can have some kind of issues in the relationship with your ex. You obviously have a really working relationship between your ex and your kids. I'm sure that it's always a thought in the back of your ex-husband's mind for his children, who are you bringing into your life and who are you bringing into your kids' life? That's a lot.
Yeah, but it's always to be respectful. I know some people, like, I was in some chat, I don't know what it was, but someone asked me a question. It's like, how can an individual divorce someone? I'm not sure you have something, but I throw it in there. Divorce someone, but then want to be co-parent with them. Why can't you guys just be together? And people don't understand that you have what you want. Thing. It's not. You can't just beat it with someone. It was a Christian group that I was in. This is when they found out that me and my husband getting divorced. I didn't know that subject was going to come up. It was some video podcast that I walked off of. And I said, I'm not going to do this because the question came out, and then the hostess just wanted to target. And I said in a nice way, I was like, it's just was not in God's planning for us to go to the next chapter. You know, we got married around 2011. You know, it's 2025 now. It wasn't in God's plan for us to make it this far. For some reason, not to sound religious, every chapter is for a reason. The universe closed that chapter for a reason. That's how I looked at it.
Right. Well, and you have your children is a product of that relationship. So they were
But
meant
we're friends.
to be here.
We're friends. Like, he was my best friend when I met him. He had no girlfriend. I was the first girl he ever talked to. And then he tried to get me. He was funny. He tried to get me to talk to him. I was like, okay. He was like, I can show you how to speak Italian and pasta. And it was funny back then. Now I'm 36.
So your business model with matchmaking, do you do a lot of long distance relationship matches, or do most of
I
your
want
matches
to do
happen-
that. I want to be an international matchmaker. That was my goal from the day I started. I always
okay.
wanted to do it. Right now, I know it's kind of difficult for some people. I had one client before the old CEO had left. It was hard to find him a match overseas when after the election was won and stuff like that. He started asking me questions, and I was like, I don't know. And what is the traveling going to be? So that's something like, it's a lot of new stuff that a lot of matchmakers probably wasn't thinking about before all this. But I know a lot is thinking, because, you know, some countries cannot come over here. And it's like, yeah, client can be like, I want it from this country. Well, we can't bring, you know, it's different stuff that now it's like a wake up call.
I'm sure that's going to be tricky and not an easy thing to work around, especially with everything that's so tumultuous.
But it's for the best and it's for the good. But I'm just saying, it's a lot of people that want certain things. Like he wanted, I'm not going to name the country or anything. But when I looked at it, it was like in the yellow or the orange that the president had it in. And I was like, I can't get you someone from that country. I can't. Even if it's a matchmaker over there, I couldn't. Like, I wouldn't even want to take that risk. I don't want to play with no one's money. My whole goal is to help people find their true soulmate. That I love it. I take my job serious. Anyone who knows me would let you know. Even in the church, they were like, Keyoka takes her job seriously. Back a long time ago, I was in my 20s. I thought, you might say I sound like a psycho crazy lady. I thought God anointed me for this, and I was like, God anointed me. I was in my early 20s. I was like, I'm gonna help. And then when my mom, it's kind of also started my mom. When I was a little girl, my mom was single. And this is a lot of women, Christian women in the 90s used to do this. And if you grew up in the church or remember hearing this, it happened. If anyone remember, some women were praying for a husband back then. And I remember seeing women say, I'm praying for my husband, girl. So I got on an article and I brought that. My mom's like, Keyoka, why did you say that? I was like, what? She was like, I was in my 20s. It was the 90s. And you were in elementary school and you got in an article and said, my mom used to pray for a man. And that's where I became a matchmaker.
Some of us women do pray for a man. Sorry, but I know we're supposed to be independent and shit, but I am meant to be with a partner. I am meant to be with somebody, who gives me back what I give them, love, respect, a relationship, companionship, fun times, your romantic times, fucking hot sex times, you name it. I'm meant for that.
She was going on dates and stuff. She was going on dates. I remember being a little girl in the 90s, and she was going on dates with guys, but she'd come home and she wasn't talking to me. She would talk to one of her friends. She was like, he's just not what God wants me to be with right now. And I said, always, my mom said, I remember you doing this, Keyoka. I remember you used to walk up to me. You used to wait when I came. She said, I came home from a date one night and you walked up to me. You said, Mom, I'm going to help you get one. I'm praying for you. And then she said, so when you did that little article and you said that, I was embarrassed, but she said, it was a girl at my church was like, well, at least your daughter said you wasn't just sitting there. You were actually going out on dates. Because some Christian women, they won't even go out. They just sit there. I'm like, come on. You got to get out the house.
You can't find something if you're not out looking for it. Well, Koko, I'm so grateful that you could be here today.
Thank you. I'm a big fan of your show. I just want to say that I have always wanted to be on it. So thank you. This makes me so happy. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. Well, we've enjoyed having you. I'm very excited about all the other members of your business coming on and also doing other topics with us. That's very exciting.
I don't know the topics they didn't tell me, but I'm excited to see what they got.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm very excited about it. So tune in next week. We are having, how do you say your boyfriend's name? He also works with you. It's Bilal?
Yeah, Bilal
Okay.
Manzoor, but he goes by
Bilal.
Muhammad. If you want to say his whole name, however you want to say it.
Okay, well, he's going to be on next week. He's going to be on from Pakistan. It's going to be
The
4
city,
a.m. for him.
Laura, how do you pronounce it? Laura?
Something like that, yeah.
Lohare. Laura. I'm pronouncing
Yeah.
it wrong. It's the
Well,
biggest city.
I'm excited to have him, and Steve's going to be back co-hosting with me again next week, which is exciting too. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve, for being here.
All of you out there who come and listen every week, who come and participate in making comments and questions, we love it. We love you. And we're going to be back same time, same place next week. And until then, let's just keep it real.
Thanks for listening to my...
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope to see you again next week.